I love this time of year when all the hydrangeas start coming into bloom. Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and we're going to take a walk through some of the landscapes here at Garden Crossings and check out all of the gorgeous hydrangeas that are blooming. But not only are we going to show you the hydrangeas, I want to show you all of the plants that are really putting on a spectacular July show of color. So let's go ahead and take a walk through the gardens. The colors are just so vibrant this time of year, and the gardens are looking so healthy. That's always so nice to see, especially when you get to the dog days of summer. It's July and it's hot, and if you can keep your garden looking good, that is a feat that is not easy to do. These are the Invincible Spirit hydrangeas, and I'm loving them. The hydrangeas we're going to talk about right up front here, these are all arborescent or smooth hydrangeas. They bloom off of the new season's growth, so they can get trimmed in the fall or in the spring, and they're very reliable bloomers. So they're definitely something, if you're looking for an easy to grow hydrangea, these are easier grow variety. We have them planted in full sun here at Garden Crossings. They can also handle part shade, although we do recommend the more sun they get, the better they are. Although if you're in the south, maybe the part shade would be better for you. As we make our way around the corner, we have the Incredible Hydrangea, and it's putting on an incredible show of color. The Incredible Hydrangeas are known for their really sturdy stems and their extra large white blooms. So you may be familiar with the Annabelle Hydrangea. That was kind of the first one, or the most popular one on the market. And Incredible was developed because Annabelle tends to be a flopper in a wind or in a heavy rain. We're Incredible with the wind and heavy rain. It still stands strong and tall and puts on a beautiful presence in the landscape. The Daisy May is putting on a nice show of color as well. This is a perennial daisy, and it's just a full canopy of gorgeous white blooms. We have it paired there with our sun patiens, and I love sun patiens because they do fabulous all summer long, as long as you give them enough water. If you don't water them, they're going to wilt. But if you're in an area where you can keep your sun patiens watered, they're going to look fantastic all summer long. We have a few of the Incredible Blush also tucked in here between the original Incredibles, just to kind of break that hedge up a little bit and give a nice coordinating color look. There's another one tucked in there, and another Incredible, and another Incredible Blush. This here is another hydrangea. This is a different type of hydrangea. This is a mountain hydrangea. This is part of the Tough Stuff series. And I love the Tough Stuff series of hydrangeas because they too are rebloomers. They bloom off of the old growth and then again off of the new growth. And nothing special was done with this hydrangea this year or last winter or anything. I don't even think we trimmed it, to be honest. And look at all of these gorgeous blooms. This Tough Stuff is essentially just full of blooms. Hardly any foliage is showing. And basically the foliage that is showing is new growth. So all of these little green sprigs you're seeing here, these are going to be flowers later on in the season because the flowers are getting developed down inside of there. So excellent, excellent blooming, really hardy. We're zone 6A here in West Michigan. And look at that. That's one plant really putting on a very lovely show of color. Down over yonder, you can see we have sun patiens alternated, a purple and a white. And I think that too is really creating kind of a fun, whimsy look to that garden that kind of draws you in. There's a lot of things kind of cycling at that point. So we're going to skip that garden for now, but we do have that featured in other videos. I really did want to show you all of the hydrangeas that are blooming today because there's just so much gorgeous color. But before we continue down to look at those hydrangeas, I wanted to show you more Daisy May leucanthemum and just how beautiful it is here in the prime of summer. We also have a phlox blooming back there. This is one of the proven winter phlox. I'm having it's luminary, I think. That's the problem when you have so many plants in your garden, having to remember all of them. Usually I'm pretty good, and I'll probably remember it in about 3 minutes, but we'll be on to the next thing at that point. But one thing I did want to show you about this phlox is look at the gorgeous canopy of color, and also look how clean that foliage is. That's one thing that Proven Winners has done with their flocks breeding is they have bred them so that they are highly disease resistant. Now, the diseases you would see in some of the older flocks would be like powdery mildew. And not to say you'll never see it, but it's going to be more of an exception than it will be a rule like you would see in some of the older varieties of tall phlox. These are the Incredible Blush Hydrangeas, which are a nice soft pink. And just look how beautiful they are. Like the original Incredible, the Incredible Blush 2 has very strong and sturdy stems that keep those extra large flowers on top of the plant, opposed to flopping over and laying on the ground. One thing that's kind of pretty with this plant is depending on the age of the bloom, you do get a little bit of variation of color. Some of them are a little bit more pink and others are a little bit more of a light dusty mauve. The pinker ones are the newer blooms and the more mauvey or dusty mauvey ones are the older blooms. So it gives you a little contrast of color going on that shrub. Got a lot of annuals in bloom right now. These are some of our trial annuals for 2026. We did a video on that. We'll post a link below if you want more information on the trial plants that were planted, the Proven Winner new annuals that will be coming out next year. Heading back over to the waterfall garden because I feel like there's just so much going on right now in this garden space. I'm going to head under the pergola here and take a peek at the sunflowers. These are the Sunfinity sunflowers, and they just do so well in this space. It's very windy up here. As you can see, there's a cornfield across from us, and the wind just whips through. And these plants here are taking the hot sun of the day along with the heavy winds that come through that just blow right across. I love how prolific bloomers these are. We don't come out here and deadhead them at all. They pretty much just continue to put on new blooms, and they look very clean with no deadheading required. A lot of times sunflowers just bloom once and then they're done. But this particular species of sunflowers is the type that just blooms all summer long as it hasn't gotten cold or really short days of the season. And they look fantastic up here on top of the waterfall. We have more sun patients out there, and they're just doing fabulous as well. We're gonna head back down and around and see what's going on. Another Tough Stuff hydrangea there. And you can see it wasn't just one that was doing good. There's two of them, one on either side of the pergola there, and both of them are showing just an excellent display of color, and that's all off of last season's growth. We have a bunch of Daisy May planted in here, and then we put some of the Super Tunia Vista bubblegum in between. We think that kind of makes a really pretty pairing of color. A lot of what you're seeing right now are Baptisia, or false indigo. Those are blooming in May, but even though they're now done blooming, they still have a fantastic presence in the garden with their kind of a shrub-like appearance. So even when they're done flowering, they have a nice habit and create a nice form in the garden. This here is a Firelight hydrangea starting to bloom a little bit. It was funny, we were talking the other day, and it feels like some of the hydrangeas are a little bit off schedule, meaning that they're blooming late. But then again, there's some like this Firelight hydrangea that seems to be blooming just a little bit early. So that's kind of the fun thing, I guess, with gardening is you really can't calculate a time as to when exactly your plants are going to be blooming from year to year. As we make our way around towards the front of the waterfall, we've got the beautiful sun patiens, we've got the surefire white begonias, we've got pennisetum grass. Oh, it's just so pretty as it blows in the breeze and just adds that nice motion into the garden. Just behind the pennisetum grass, we kind of have a tiered effect going on here. We have the Going Bananas daylilies, and then just behind them are the Blue Chip Junior butterfly bush. So those will be blooming a little bit later. But you can walk through the garden through the top, or you can walk through on the grass side where I'm at right now. So when we plant this bed, we want to make sure that it looks pretty from whatever angle it is that you're walking through the garden at. The Selenia begonias have done fantastic this year. Those are those beautiful yellows that we're seeing. And at first I wasn't sure how they would handle full sun. So we did a little trial of them last year and they did fantastic. So we went ahead and did more mass planting of them this year. And I'm really glad that we did because they really add a special and I think unique look into the garden beds. We also have coleus planted in here and they're finally starting to look good. So we got a late frost at the end of May and really all the coleus kind of looked a little terrible, but they're coming around really nicely. And the one thing I want to point out is with the proven winter coleus, they can be grown in full sun or full shade, but you're going to get your best coloration when you plant them in full sun. In shade, the colors might feel a little muted, not as bright, not as showy, but when you get those babies out in the sun, they just really put on a fantastic show of color. Here we're back at the waterfall again from the front side. And is that just not a vibrant splash of color? I mean, if you are looking for big, bold color in your garden, something that you want the neighbors to turn their head and look at, you can't go wrong with the sun patience and the sunflower combination that we have going on here. That fuchsia and that yellow, very complementary to each other, and definitely makes your head want to turn and look at what's going on. Out here in the north garden, we have some of our Let's Dance Arriba hydrangeas blooming. These are the big leaf hydrangeas, and these two bloom off of old and new growth. The flowers that we're currently seeing are what's blooming off of last year's growth, and we're seeing a lot of new buds that are forming, and those are all coming off of this season's growth. The one nice thing with Arriba is it's very quick to set its next set of blooms. So it feels like you're never going without seeing any flowers on this particular big leaf hydrangea. We've got more of the Selenia begonias here. These are the apricot color. We have them paired with the lobelia blushing princess. And then we also have some of the luscious lemonade lantana behind it to create kind of a nice looking annual garden border. We've got the spun silk leucanthemum. It's definitely daisy season right now. Behind them, we've got Rocket's Red Glare Nephophia. Those are just a very fun and whimsy looking flower to poke into the garden. As we head down a little further, we're going to get into coneflower craze. I love coneflowers, and I love it when they're all mixed together. So if you can get a bunch of coneflowers and mix them all together, that's a cool look to me. But before we head on down to those coneflowers, I want to show you one more thing that's up in the middle of this bed. And this is actually clematis. This is Sweet Summer Love. Sweet Summer Love has a nice vanilla fragrance. The flowers are quite small, but there are lots of them. And the one neat thing with Sweet Summer Love is depending on if it's a new bloom or an older bloom, you'll get two different colors of flower going on. So the newer blooms are more of a burgundy red. And then as those flowers age, they turn to purple. So you get kind of a two-tone look going on this plant. This would be similar to Sweet Autumn in a way, as far as its habit. But the one thing you'll notice is it's blooming in July, where Sweet Autumn is a fall blooming clematis. Also, the Sugar Shack shrub is in bloom right now. This is a great native shrub, also perfect for the pollinators. Look at those beautiful cylinder, circular flowers. And then as the summer goes on and those flowers start to fade, we're going to have little red balls all over this plant. So different look depending on the season you're in. Look at that. Isn't that just the perfect round flower? All right, now I promised you coneflowers, so we're going to head on over and see those coneflowers now. I just feel like there's so much to see, especially this time of year. And I know that a lot of you are watching these videos and you're getting inspired with plants you maybe have never seen before. So that's why I always think it's important to show you things that maybe are new to you. Beautiful coneflowers. So the coneflowers that are out here are either the Proven Winners coneflowers or they're part of our Bloomables collection. So there's a lot of different colors going on, a lot of different series going on. Some of them are singular flower forms, and others of them are more double flower forms. So it depends on what you like. I kind of like them all, so I mix them all in. The one thing with coneflowers is I feel like you can really create that crayon box look, meaning like literally almost every color, with the exception of blue or purple, can be found in a coneflower a variety. Look at that. The other nice thing is when these are done blooming, the birds, they love the seeds of the coneflowers. So typically we won't trim them back right away. We'll let the songbirds, the finches, come and enjoy any of the seeds that they can pick out of any of these coneflowers. Stokesia or Stokes aster is also a long blooming perennial here. This is part of the Totally Stoked series. This is white cap. Gorgeous white blooms, and as I mentioned, it's a long blooming perennial, fairly compact in its size, 20, 22 inches tall and wide. Just creates a nice mounding habit. We're going to make our way around to the front of the bed, and I'm going to show you one of the longest blooming perennials that we have in all of our gardens. As we make our way around, you're seeing this beautiful collection here of the Supertunia Tierra Blue and the Supertunia Persimmon. Last year, we planted a purple and orange combination, and I thought it looked really nice. So this year, we kind of did it again. We just used some different Supertunias. Supertunia Tierra Blue is a new variety for 2025, and it's looking fantastic here out in the garden. Paired with that Persimmon, which was introduced a couple years ago. Persimmon is kind of a peachy, corally, I don't know, orangey color, kind of a unique and different color, and it pairs really well with the purple. Now for the longest blooming flower in this garden, it's actually a bleeding heart for full sun. This here is the pink diamonds. Look at that gorgeous blue-green foliage, and look at all those flowers. This plant will continue blooming until the first hard frost. So although it seems like a very unlikely plant to be talking about as one of the longest blooming perennials in this bed, it is definitely just that, and also it seems crazy too that it's in full sun. If you're looking to plant a long blooming perennial that will give you color until the frost, consider the Dicentra Pink Diamonds. A lot of color going on in today's garden tour. I'd love to know, what was it that you found most interesting, or what was the prettiest plant that you saw in today's tour? Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments on any of the plants that you've seen in today's garden tour, please leave them in the comments below. And if there was something you saw and think, I need to have that in my garden, you can head to our website, gardencrossings.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.